Hello and welcome everyone to the instant post-match reaction show. Liverpool getting a hard-earned point away from home at the Emirates tonight. We would have loved the back end of that game, Liverpool to have got a winner. Wasn't to be, but by Lords, we made it difficult for ourselves in the opening 45 minutes. If you are watching on the post-match as well, if you are watching on the live stream tonight, make sure you do get your comments in as we do progress on tonight's show. Want to know your man of the matches as well, but yeah, disappointing by all honesty in terms of I wanted to come into this game with a lot of expectation, a lot of hope as well. Like especially in big title run-ins, come what the end of May, you need to be picking up, I'd say even maximum 3 points. Obviously, but big up to obviously a very good podcast as well. Tonight I did have the privilege to jump on the JLA podcast as well with Ben and the lads as well. The links to that obviously podcast slash obviously space as well. Probably the first space I've done in a very long time. I don't think I've done many spaces on my time in social media, but a massive thank you to the lads for having me on the space as well. The JLA podcast as well. The links, make sure you do head over, give all your support to the lads as well. You know who they are, but if you're not too sure on their content, make sure you head over, drop them all a follow as well to all the lads that I spoke to as well on the space podcast, whatever you want to call it. It's audio form media as well. But Reds, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you do drop the follows as well. But in regards to this game, Reds, in terms of big chances created, both sides only created 2 big chances apiece. So that would indicate obviously the lack of quality in the final third for me. In terms of the way in which Liverpool started the game, it wasn't the best. Bukayo Saka on obviously the 9th minute getting the goal. In terms of that ball over the top, in terms of Saka sitting down, Andy Robinson on his backside, wasn't the best defending from Robbo, but I think, as I just said on that space there, I think you've got to show a lot of admiration and praise to Bukayo Saka in terms of that. The body positioning wasn't right from Robbo, but I think it's that excellent movement from Saka in the penalty area. He could do that to many of the fullbacks as well. He has done over the last couple of years as well. But in terms of our perspective, when we analysed that goal, I didn't like how isolated Robbo was, but in terms of his positional play, but even, I think Carragher mentioned it on the Sky Sports post-match comments as well, in regards to the reaction time from Virgil van Dijk to the tracking back in terms to get back into that position and cover, obviously, Andy Robbo, but it wasn't to be. But it's small margins in these high caliber, high octane quality, full-blooded encounters, whether it's be Liverpool Arsenal, Liverpool City. If you slip in one element and little facet of this game, you can certainly get punished. And by Lords, Bukayo Saka did punish us at the back in regards to that as well. But in terms of the reaction from Liverpool was really good on the 18th minute. Obviously, the set piece. Liverpool failed, especially in that first half, and obviously we regained possession and we a lot more control in the game in the second half, but it was extremely difficult, really, in terms of that first half. It was a difficult watch, but we had to sit through it as well. But Liverpool can't always have it our way, and we won't do come what the end of May. This is probably Liverpool's biggest, if not it has been this so far this season. It was our biggest test. When you're coming up against Arsenal, I think they stifled Liverpool's creativity in those central areas, something that we've done really well. Marino, obviously, Declan Rice as well, in terms of just shutting down the likes of obviously Curtis Jones, Gravenberch and McAllister. I think they really limited Liverpool's midfielders in terms of breaking those lines, breaking up the pockets of space. Arsenal done really well in terms of just limiting us to any chances. Darwin Núñez didn't have a lot of touches on the ball, and thankfully in the second half, one of the big touches he did have in the opposition penalty area was obviously that teeing up at the second goal, really, Reds. But I would have liked a bit more control, but it's expected. You're going away from home against Arsenal. You're going to be sacrificing quite a fair chunk of possession when you do go away from home. And that's probably one of the, I think Arnie Schlott on the post-match comments, he said he appreciates obviously the set pieces and all that, but going into the next couple of weeks, next couple of months as well, when we do come up against the likes of Manchester City as well, I'd like to see a bit more control. But Arsenal didn't make it easy for Liverpool. They certainly didn't. But in terms of the midfield players, the lads have mentioned just there, I'd like to see a bit more control. But I think the substitutions, as we'll speak about in a little second, in regards to the second half, did impact the game. But there was a lot of running from both sides, in all honesty. In terms of statistically, when you do look at analyse Liverpool's game, the expected XG for Arsenal was a 1.03 to Liverpool's 0.85 as well. Just goes to indicate there wasn't a lot of big chances, really, in all honesty. In terms of set plays, Arsenal edged up by a 0.44 to Liverpool's 0.25 as well. In terms of the aerial duels, was a big indicating factor to the which the fact that Liverpool win, especially in that first half, Liverpool were very slow, very lethargic in regards to those aerial duels. And the whole entirety of that game, in terms of the 90, how many minutes was there? 97, 98 minutes. In terms of the aerial duels won, Arsenal did have a 62% compared to Liverpool's 38% in regards to that game as well. Winning, obviously, Arsenal won 18 of those 11 compared to Liverpool's 11 as well. I think that really, in terms of just that aerial combative nature, second half, we kind of did start to win a lot more of those second and third ball transitions, really, so that really helped. But in terms of ground duels, Liverpool edged up by a 51% to obviously Arsenal's 49% as well. Successful dribbles, Liverpool had more of them. We had 8 compared to Arsenal's 5. 66, so it's going to be one of them. When you look at the accurate long balls as well, which is not very telling, but it just goes to show in terms of how well Arsenal have done this season, in terms of obviously getting the goal from obviously the goal in which they did get as well. Obviously, aerial accurate long balls. Obviously, Arsenal had 23 wins compared to Liverpool's 20, so obviously 48 percentile to Liverpool's 33 as well. But in terms of big chances created, 2-2, touches in the opposition box, which is, you want more, but it's when you get into these big games, whether you're playing City, Barcelona, Bayern Munich as well, it's all about that defensive rigidness, really, in terms of just limiting those pockets of space in and around and inside the penalty area as well. But when you do get into those moments, as we did in the second half with that Salah goal as well, when you get in those areas, you need to punish the opposition. And yeah, I think off the back of this, not just for Liverpool, but in terms of Arsenal, I think both teams would need to do a bit more in terms of the build-up play in and around the penalty area. When you do get into the penalty area, be a lot more accurate, really, in regards to that. It's quickly look at some of the other stats as well. Yeah, the biggest one, obviously, touches. So touches in the opposition box. Arsenal had 53 touches in Liverpool's penalty area compared to Liverpool's 26 in Arsenal's penalty area as well. So it was one of them, chat. It wasn't a match to remember for the ages. Yes, it was 2-2, but I think in the overall sense, the build up to this game, especially from our perspective, I would like to see a lot more control, as I said at the top of the show, a bit more control, but it's one of them. It was our most difficult game so far this season. It's only early doors, it's only October. Leagues aren't won in October, leagues are won in May, come what the end of May. But what you can do, and what I know Theo Walcott said on his post-match comments, he was very surprised by the way in which Liverpool turned up, but let's not kid ourselves. I think Arsenal had a lot to play in that respect in regards to the way in which he controlled the game in the first 45 minutes. But obviously, as we got into that second half, Liverpool, the substitutions were very pivotal. I know when we were doing our watch-along, we all said Gomez needed to, Costas or Gomez needed to come on to replace Robbo. Obviously, Simi did come on as well, as we know. And obviously that the raft of changes. So Alexis McAllister come off, Robbo went off, and Diaz went off on the 63rd minute. And obviously Szoboszlai, Costas, and Cody Gakpo all come on. And I think that was for the better. It gave Liverpool a lot more legs, a lot more momentum, really, in terms of a bit more energy about our game. Devils, hindsight is a wonderful thing in football and in life sometimes as well, in regards to obviously lot of people might say, why did he start Jones as well? I would have liked to have seen, I wanted to see Jones start this game as well, but it wasn't to be. I think we really struggled to break the defensive line of Arsenal. But Dominic Szoboszlai, there was a lot of energy spent from both sides. And I think come what the obviously 81st minute, Liverpool, I think the breakaway from Liverpool really showed the lack of legs from Arsenal, but obviously certainly a lot of quality from Alexander-Arnold. That ball over the top. It had kind of a bit of a quiet game. Obviously, Trent took that the resulting corner that led to our first goal. A flick on from the front post from Diaz as well. But in all honesty, not just picking out Trent, but some of the lads weren't at it today. But it's expected. They're playing a lot of minutes, a lot of goals against the calibre of players that they are coming up against as well. When you're not on it for large spells, a game of this magnitude, you will get punished. And I think certainly Liverpool were punished in the sloppy areas of our defensive game today. But Trent's lovely ball down the right-hand channel. I think Darwin Núñez done extremely well, as we said on the watch-along as well. His weight of pass, it might not look it, but in terms of that element and that area of the pitch as well, when he's broke into the penalty area, the weight of pass is absolutely exceptional from Darwin Núñez. All Salah has to do, but in terms of their interchanging and the attack and fluidity, obviously that's 11 goals now for Salah in 15 games against Arsenal, which is just goes to show his record against the top teams. Obviously Manchester United, obviously Arsenal now as well. Hopefully Salah, by the end of his Liverpool career, does have a couple more Premier League titles to go along. Is great mantle hold as well. Obviously won Champions League, Premier League, but we want to be greedy. And certainly Salah, if he does sign that new contract in the next 12 months, then he wants to win more trophies as well. But yeah, it was one of them. Liverpool with the changes, we got a lot more control, but I think in the overall picture, when you analyse that, me being a Liverpool fan, I think Arsenal come into this game, they needed to at least win or not just get absolutely ran over, really, in terms of whether not being a 4 or 5-0, because for their confidence going into this game, if we could have got this result over the line, would have been 7 points clear of Arsenal. But it obviously, yes, leagues aren't won in October, but they can certainly be added to as well, certainly, can't they? So it's it's a point well earned, certainly off the, especially if you watch along all of us when we were speaking in the game, it was like, oh, there were so many gaps, certainly. But I think, as we've all said off the back of this game, I think Ibrahim Konate was absolutely exceptional tonight. There was certain passages of play, really, and especially counter-attacks that Arsenal had within this game where it was a 1-on-4, certainly 1-on-3 in certain moments as well. But Konate stood up tall. He didn't allow himself to get preoccupied by other stuff as well. I think there's a crucial interception in that second half that we can all remember inside the penalty area for Liverpool, where he has to win that ball, or whether it's a penalty as well. But he times it absolutely amazing, and it's tackles like that can certainly go a long way. But a big point away from home against Arsenal. Obviously City Arsenal, they drew, so it's more or less 50-50 really in regards to them games. But obviously the game against City in a couple of weeks' time will be very pivotal. It's going to be a big game, but certainly I think the main thing going into the reverse fixture in a couple of months' time when Liverpool face up against Arsenal at home at Anfield, we certainly do need to get 3 points in that game. But if we do, then sounds happy days. But a lot to unpack there, really, chap, but I don't want to dwell too much onto it in regards to that. But yeah, 2 big chances created in the overall game for both sides, very evenly split. But certainly the spell in the first half, the back end of that first half, Arsenal had a lot more of the momentum, and I think when it was 2-1, I think like the last 3, 4, 5 minutes, obviously with the 4 minutes added on, I think Arsenal, that's where the difference between, for me, when I analyse Arsenal and City, obviously City serial Premier League winners, but I think that's the difference between City and Arsenal, especially going into this season. before even the first half whistles even gone, I think City put another goal in past Liverpool there because we were on the ropes when it went 2-1. I think they were very disjointed, but certainly I think we were all made up to go in. Not happy to go in 2-1, but the way in which that first half did transpire got a lot more looser. But Liverpool grew into the game in the second half, got a lot more control, as we mentioned. But in terms of performance-wise, it was one of them. I think in terms of Nunes going forward, I'd like to see a bit more control with him, but I think that was not just Nunes' fault, as I alluded to before. Marino and obviously Declan Rice as well. They really limited Liverpool in terms of spacing around the penalty area, but even in the middle of the park as well. Thomas Partey, a lot of noise coming into this game as well, chat. Playing right back, obviously, I would have liked to have seen a bit more from Lucho Diaz, but that stems really from Liverpool's inability to really get that pocket of space, get the ball, regain the possession in the middle of the park and start playing our football. But the intensity from Arsenal, Liverpool weared off it, and against the City, if we do that in the game in a couple of weeks' time against City, I think they really punish us. They'll put us to the sword, and we're not on it in regards to just getting on the ball, being a lot more composed, showing a lot more courage. But yeah, I was made up we got that equaliser, chat, because some of the antics from Arsenal's plays, like, fair enough, yes, we've time wasted, but it's called in-game management. But you would have thought Arsenal would have been winning 3-4-1 the way they were acting. But that's the difference. I think, obviously, yes, Pep Guardiola reacts, but I didn't like the fact that they were all constantly hitting the deck, really. There's a game there to be won for Arsenal. And if that's City get up, and they have done, as we've seen in recent seasons, when you play City, it's full flow, attacking football, could be 4-4, could be 2-2, doesn't matter. Two teams going at each other, really. But Arsenal, very young side, still got a long way to learn and develop as well. But there was certainly a lot of immaturity in regards to Arsenal's performance today. But they'll learn that, and especially obviously they're still a very young side. But I think the overall picture, I think it's a very hard-earned point for Liverpool, and a lot to learn off as well. Obviously, this was our biggest test, and certainly go into the next couple of weeks. Leverkusen in Champions League very soon as well at Anfield. So much to play for. But yeah, as Gary said there, Arsenal won't win the league. Long way to go, Gary. But I think a point, the way we played today, I think we'll be happy, in all honesty. But we know Arne Slot won't be happy. Obviously, if you listen to his post-match press conference with Sky and that, he knows the areas that we need to improve as well. But yeah, it was the main thing that ticked me off today as well was Liverpool. We know how good Arsenal are at set pieces. In terms of just being, whether it be Arsenal, whether it be another team in the coming weeks as well, I don't want us to be seeing, given the opposition team, the emphasis really and the confidence really to build off that. Obviously, we've seen with the second goal and Moreno running in at the back post. Virgil van Dijk slightly he was playing them on by a good 2-3 yards as well. Similar with Ibu last week, obviously against Chelsea, but or the week before, sorry, in regards to him playing the high line. But it's what you do. It's Liverpool and Arsenal high lines, similar with City as well. But Liverpool's defensive line has been quite defensively resolute, really. It's been very controlling, but today it was just off it, really. But when you come up against the calibre that Arsenal do have in those attacking areas, it's not happen, really. But yeah, sounds 2-2. Would have liked 3 points, but yeah, I think a point is a good, fair reflection on the game, considering both teams only created 2 big chances, either apiece anyway. So yeah, no goalkeeper masterclasses as well. To get to all your comments as well before we do shoot off as well. Big up there, Gary Taliola. Slot was too bloody defensive. Nunes was man of the match. Jack, would you go 4-4-2 with Nunes and Salah up front? Canate was a beast tonight. Liverpool win the league. I'd say no, Gary, in regards to a formation change. I think the formation wasn't the issue. I think it was, as I've said before, at the top of the show, mate, it was just some of the Liverpool players just needed a bit more confidence and belief in themselves. Just to take an extra 2-3 seconds on the ball, and then just to try and bypass that Arsenal press in the midfield of the park, in the middle of the park anyway, because when you look at obviously the starting 11 as well, Thomas Partey wasn't or he's not a right back, he's a central defensive midfielder, but I think what Trossard done really well, especially Gabriel Martinelli and Saka, they were all coming back in terms of those defensive blocks. We mentioned it when we played Arsenal as well with Nunes in terms of his impact on the game. When you need your attacking players to come back, and that's certainly Arsenal, limited Liverpool to a lot of spacing around the penalty area and even in the centre of the park as well. But yeah, I think for me, my man of the match for Arsenal would have been Marino, sorry, obviously the signing from Real Sociedad as well. But one of them chats, Gary. I don't think there won't be any tactical changes in terms of formation wise, but it's just about building confidence, building belief, and yet again that Salah Darwin Núñez combination, it's absolutely staggering. And Salah moves up to the joint 8th, I think it is, position in the Premier League goal scoring charts anyway, in the history of the Premier League. I think he's joint with a certain Robbie Fowler in 100 odd less games, which is all well and good. So very good for him in regards to that as well. There's this guy, what's it? Trophies, titles, you need to be great defensive stats. Yeah, Andrew, they were really good, mate. They were really good. Pick up there, Doug. Maybe Arsenal players keep failing to fall into the ground because kept shouting. Oh, Doug. Red card for that, lad. Panov, how are we, mate? Evening, Jack. Do you think it was Jack? Panov saying I think he thinks it was a pretty balanced game, to be honest. And to get a point away from home against a good Arsenal side, a good Arsenal team that have improved over the last couple of seasons, it's not too bad of a result as well. 100% there, Panov, because we could have easily have rocked up like we have done in certain seasons and not play at our level, and we've got absolutely battered. Or not battered, but when you look at the scoreline, you're like, whoa, what happened there? But I think a point, it's an improvement, certainly. But there's a long way to go, and we all know that. Today was a massive learning curve for the players, for us as fans as well, in terms of analysing the game. It was very good. I think come what the end of May, hopefully it's a point that might be. Hopefully, if we do win the league, it's a bit more of bit more clear, like by about 5-6 points as well, not by a point. But we've seen what happens, especially with City as well. But chat, get your man of the matches in there. I think it's possibly a full house, but you might have different feelings in regards to that point. Chat, but I think Ibu, he's I think over the last 12 months since he's come in back into the Liverpool starting 11, I think Jarrell Quansah doing as well as he has done in the last 12 months when he did get his opportunity. Quansah, it's fresh competition. You look at City's squad and Real Madrid when they've won Champions League after Champions League. You've got to have that competitive nature. You've got to have quality in every area. There's certainly room for improvement in terms of the transfer window, I think, as it was on the space this evening as well. Please do check it out, chat, as well. Obviously the JLA, the Liverpool, Arsenal, the narrative as well. The links to that space can be found in the description below. Drop all the follow to all the lads on the space as well. Absolute legends. But in regards, as I mentioned there, the narrative in terms of, yes, Robbo wasn't on it tonight. I do think long term, in terms of the way in which Arne Slot wants to implement his philosophy in those defensive areas, where you look at left back, you look at Gavardio at Manchester City, Nathan Ake's being absolutely imperious, really, for Manchester City. We need that type of signing. A centre-half that can play left back, but a very good defensive ball-playing defender as well. Someone that's comfortable on the ball, are willing to get pressed and then play out from the press and then just go quickly breaking behind the opposition midfield and the attacking line as well. So it's going to be one of them. But since Ibu has come back in off the back of his injuries as well, I think the competition has massively helped, not just Ibu, but I think the lads at the back as well, to really good kick on the backside in regards to their performances. Can I say, big up there, Callum. I think that's a big shout, that Callum Canate is the best centre back in the world right now. Saying Virgil van Dijk, Callum, but it's I think the way in which Ibu and Van Dijk have started this season, it's really good. But let's continue this. Yes, we conceded 2 this season tonight. Sorry, chat. But I think the way we've defended, it's been much better and there's a certain reason why we are up there in the mix with Manchester City. We are I think it's 4 points clear of Arsenal now as well, so a point, still a 4 points ahead of Arsenal, so a long way to go. But Arsenal, interesting there, Gary. Big up there, John. How good as Canate plays, he meant. He's absolutely imperious there, John. I think, yeah, and he's, how old is he, chat? Is he 24, 25 now? So, or he might be a bit more younger than that anyway, if that's the case. Let's quickly look at how old Canate is. Yeah, he's 25 now. I think he's just turned 25 today as well, chat. In terms of his accurate passes for Canate today, he registered 54 successful out of the 62, so an 87 percentile for Mibu Canate. I think he done that really well. In terms of obviously the passing into the final third, he made 6. In terms of accurate long balls tonight, he registered 67%, done 2 out of 3 as well. Tackles 1 tonight, maximum 2 out of 2. Clearances 6, header clearances 3, defensive actions 8, recovery 6, duels 1, ground duels 1. He won his maximum 3 out of 3 as well, and that's all you can, that's all you can ask from Virgil van Dijk, and obviously, but that's where obviously Canate as well. But a long way to go, chat. Big points away from home. Don't want to dwell too much on it, but we could have done better in those midfield areas. But certainly Arsenal limited us. But I think going into the big game against City in a couple of weeks' time at Anfield, we know the areas where Liverpool need to improve, especially in these games of this magnitude as well. Show them a lot more belief, a lot more confidence as well in terms of whether that's Maka, Szoboszlai. It's certainly what Maka doesn't really. He thrives in those areas, but you could tell tonight, as we said in the watch along, looked like Maka was absolutely knackered, and that's no slight on McAllister's performance. I think Arsenal done really well down that right-hand channel. I think Liverpool, from a defensive point of view, whether that be obviously Virgil on that left-hand side of the defence with Andy Robbo as well, and McAllister was on that left-hand side as well, they were getting absolutely battered, and they needed a bit more help from the likes of Diaz as well. I think we would have liked to have seen a bit more defensive running from Diaz, but it is what it is. When you come up against that calibre of team, players as well, you will punish you, but certainly, as we did tonight, we punished Arsenal in those 2 key moments of our game. In regards, I like the thinking of the second goal as well, but the reaction certainly in that equaliser, Liverpool reacted in the right manner, and we reacted to get a point again. We come from behind twice as well in this game, so it's what we've got to take what we get, and it's certainly a big point away from home. But chat, as you say in there, Ibu Canate, easy man of the match. But if you are watching this on the repeat as well, Reds, or any Gunners as well, if you are new around here, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Drop a like on the video, massively does help out. And as I said before, at the top of the show, make sure you do head over that space. Obviously, the Arsenal and Liverpool, the narrative, the JLA podcast as well, with Ben and the lads on the panel as well. It was great to speak to them and talk all things Liverpool. Shame about my connection. It went to Birkenhead. Usually my connection's sound, but it is what it is. But chat, definitely check that out. Make sure you do get your comments in the comment section below on the post-match as well. Let us know your thoughts on that. A big point salvaged from the Emirates tonight. There's a long way to go till the end of May. We're only in the 27th of October, but it feels like we've played so much football so far as well. Yeah, big up there, chat. Massive thank you for everyone for tuning in the comments tonight. You're absolute legends as well. But Reds, see you tomorrow for another live stream. We'll do another daily news show or whatnot. But Reds, massive thank you for tuning in. If you are new around here, hit that subscribe button down below. But yeah, still a lot of work to do, but certainly a very good, hard-earned points away at the Emirates.